Very well.
On NADMO. To hear from you, their promotions. Some of them are saying they've been sitting in one office for many years and they are not well equipped, and they want to hear your voice and believe in you that you do something different for them as Minister of Interior. We wish the leader success at the Interior Ministry. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. God bless you too. Mr. Chair, when I took the briefing and I just realized why we are having most of the challenges that we have. One, we have a national security strategy on disaster management and we are not following through. We have this huge organization, NADMO, that we are not paying attention to. The steps, the law that we have is comprehensive enough. And if my memory serves me, it is Act 927. The Act 927. If you go there, Mr. Chair, you will see how nationally we need to have this emergency committee, regional and district. And it is, in the case of the national, it is multi-sectorial. Yet when there's something, when something happens, in our rush, then we're going to say, oh, we are forming interministerial. And I always say, what? When COVID came, we went and set up interministerial. Now that was the function of NADMO. The same thing when the spillage, the Akosombo spillage happened, we went and set up interministerial. The more we do that, the more we weaken NADMO. Because it's like you are saying that you have an organization, like you have a vehicle. It has fuel, it is serviceable, then you call Uber, that they should come and lift you. Anytime you want to go out, then someone come and say, but what about this vehicle? Why is this problem? Oh, the vehicle is good. Let me start it for you to see. You start it, it's working, you move it, but you park it. And then every day you are calling for Uber. That's what we are doing. So, yes, it's an area that we need to pay attention, because if we do it right, and one of the things that I will do specifically is that when I join the team in NADMO must let us as a group see quarterly, are the district complying, are the regions complying, and what are we ourselves doing nationally? Because if we can even meet just 4 times in a year to ask ourselves, in case of emergency, what do we do? I'm sure it will be the beginning of trying to deal with it. With the staffing, it is generally a problem within the security services, where people, you heard the first questions that came about promotion, about transfers, about their condition of service. It is an area that I will engage there. If by the grace of God, this committee approves of my nomination and Parliament does so, engage the finance minister for us to appreciate that those who protect us also matter. Because if they protect us well, like I said earlier, people will be willing to invest, and then that finance ministry will make more money. So it is important that we take care of them so that their morale is high, so that they'll be able to protect us and then protect the whole country. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. I proceed to recognize Honorable Brian Achampong, Doctor.
Thank you, Honorable, and congratulations.
Thank you.
My position on your qualification is consistent with Article 78 of the Constitution, except when the President, after this vetting, withdraws your nomination. I don't believe anything can stop you from being confirmed. You've been in this House for 20 plus years, your 6th term in Parliament.
Yes.
And therefore you are overqualified for the position. My questions are to get your views of some of the issues on small arms, promotions, and depoliticization of the services. These are the 3 categories that I want us to talk about. But before that, you mentioned that you worked with JICA briefly, It's not listed in your CV, if you can correct that, because it's a House of Records. And then also you listed Minister for Youth and Sports as a leadership position instead of employment. But that is a job, so you have to correct that on the CV. On the issue of small arms, in 2004, there were about 240,000 small arms usage in this country. That number surged in 10 years, in 2014, to 2.3 million small arms use. It is projected that in 2024, that number will be about 5 million. That projects to about 1 in 6 Ghanaians carrying a weapon. 1 in 6 Ghanaians carrying a weapon. Honorable Patrick Boama did hint on that question, and you gave a very general answer. But I want Ghanaians to have confidence in what you can do to stem this. We don't, as you have said repeatedly, when something happens, what will happen? We don't even have enough security people to stand such a mob action with weapons. And in this election, what I saw, the people that are carrying arms before, during, and after the elections, is not something that we should joke with. Honorable Minister, kindly give us an idea, if you can. If you can't, give us an idea what you can do. If 1 in 5 Ghanaians is carrying, or 6 Ghanaians is carrying a weapon, it's a dangerous territory. Give us an idea what you may want to do about this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I mean, the concern of my colleagues is genuine. And like I said, you are working, I'm going to join a team that is full of experts that are long years of experience and have experience of other jurisdictions. But as a member of the team, if I join, one of the major things that I want to do immediate is the introduction of IT to track who has been given gun and for what purpose was the gun given or approved for. But if you can have database that is computerized, with the touch of a button, I can know, maybe those of us around this table, who and who has been licensed to carry whether small arm or even larger arms. It will be the beginning to help in the national security strategy in terms of surveillance and knowing and tracking what people are using it for. As we speak, I want to believe that if, like you rightly said, you are projecting about 5 million, maybe if you go to the ministry, and I know you've worked at the National Security Ministry before, if you go there and you want to really put your fingers to who and who have really registered DS, even those who may have permit, it may shock you to know that you don't have the data that you can at a go look at. And I think that the starting point is that let us measure, because it is only when you measure that you can achieve. If we know who and who are truly holding it, then we'll be able to make our surveillance very effectively. Then, like I rightly said earlier, we need to make sure that we are really very serious with the proliferation. The entry points, where they are, when people are moving around with it. If we have these gadgets, I'm sure it is going to help us. And as a team, you know, the police are most of the time on the road or in the main community. They are more closer to the communities than probably maybe the small arm. Because if you look at the number of officers, about the commission has, they are fewer as compared to the police, Ghana Police Service. Collaboration as a team, I'm sure we should be able to minimize the proliferation and also be able to track even the usage. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
A follow-up on that.
Before the follow-up, Honorable Nominee, we all know what being. You are very intelligent.
A lot of information.
But let's keep the answers very brief.
Chairman, I will make conscious effort to keep the answers very, very brief.
Thank you very much. Dr. Brian Acheampong, your next question.
A follow-up on that. Since we are in an operation recover mode, are you able to, when you take office, launch an operation recover small arms by the Ghana Small Arms? Because it's frightening. And the figure that I mentioned, the Ghana Small Arms reports that about only 50% of that is the 2004 data, only 50% of that is registered arms. The rest are unregistered, illicit weapons. So can you launch a program? I mean, in advanced countries, they launch a program, tender in your weapon, and get some cash, do this, and get this thing, so that at least we can reduce the number of weapons in circulation. It's quite frightening.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chair, I can assure my colleague that with the team, we'll look at that, because we can get maybe non-governmental organizations that may be able to support us. We can grant amnesty, because some people may be having it. They are even afraid that it will be seen on them. Maybe when they wanted it, there was some reason why they wanted it. Now they have it, they can't register it, but they want to tender it, but they are afraid. We can give some amnesty window period for that, and probably look at the exchange for cash or exchange for some kind. But like I said, when I joined the team, we have more experts there, and we'll put our heads together to see what we can do in the retrieving. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Nominee. I'm encouraged by this last statements of yours. Honorable Nominee, on the issue of promotions and transfers, promotions are usually based on time in grade and time in service. When the time comes, I'm supposed to serve 4 years, I move to the next rank. 4 years, I don't need the prompting of any person. I don't need it to look as though it's a favor from a superior. I've done my time and promotion is due me. Except for when there is a vacancy issue at the top, which in that case, you are paid by the rank that you have achieved. But because there's no vacancy, okay, you will have to wait to then fill the rank. I'm not sure if you understand the question. So I'm supposed to be 4 years at Lieutenant Colonel, 4 years, I get to Lieutenant Colonel, I'm Colonel. If there's no vacancy at the Colonel rank, I'm still being paid as a Colonel elect, but I don't have the position to occupy. But I've bid my time. Is it possible that you can ensure that promotions and in the police services or all the agencies under you is by time in grade and time in service? Because I've read reports of police people for political expediency. When they are due promotions, they don't get their promotions, and then their juniors are passing them by. That we can institute a policy of time in grade, time in service, such that when you hit that time mark, you get your promotion. And then on transfers. Transfers in this country, Mr. Chairman, are seen as, in some cases, punishment. This is one question, promotions and transfers. Transfers are seen as a punishment. We will transfer you to somewhere the sun doesn't shine, is what you hear from your superiors. Honorable, can we find a mechanism where when you enlist into a service, you know that this is going to be my operational area, that you elect. And once you are confirmed into that operational area, that I elect to be in the Volta region, that I will operate within the Volta region, so that it doesn't be that you are from Accra or you are from Wale Wale and you are transferred to Accra, and that is not where you want to live your life. Yes, I'm a policeman, yes, I'm a prisons officer, but I want to really live my life in a certain geographical area. So can we find a policy? Can we do something about these transfers such that if you are transferring me within the eastern region, I'm okay with it. But I'm from the eastern region, I'm a human being, I want to live all my life in the eastern region, and then you transfer me to Nzulezu, where, yes, I'm in a force, but I don't want to live. So all my time in Nzulezu, I am unhappy, I can't give my best to the nation, and so on and so forth. So this issue of promotions and transfer, Honorable Minister, God will see you through, but when you are there, what will you want to do about these two issues that I've talked about? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Earlier, I tried to answer this question, but the assurance I will give my colleague is that working with the team that I'm joining, will put in mechanism to make this very transparent, and then some of the concern that you are carrying on, we'll look at it as a team and see the best way we'll be able to deal with it. Because you see, I've said it and I'm repeating, the law says at least. So if it says at least 4 years, it means that you can be there for 8 years. We should be careful, this mechanical promotion. I agree. But then what will be the motivating factor? If I get up every morning, I praise it, I work so hard, and in working hard, most of the time, as you and I may know, I even get the wrath of the institution because I make mistakes and I can get punished. Oh, you decide to sleep and just wait for the 4 years. And then the time comes, we'll all get promoted. Why wouldn't I also go and sleep? So I will all be sleeping, and then we'll just be counting the months and the years. It gets there, then we'll get promoted. So we need to strike a neat balance. And because of that neat balance, definitely there are experts, there are other ways of doing it in other jurisdictions. Together with the team, we'll put our heads together to overcome this challenge. But I will take the concern that you have raised seriously, and I assure you we'll do the best that we can. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
A follow-up on this. I agree with him, but when you are recruited into the service, you are expected to work hard. But if you work harder, you can be promoted above your colleagues. And in the same vein, if you are lazy and you decide that you sleep, there are administrative queries that can be put in place such that you also don't progress. But what we are talking about is all things being equal, that you have paid your time and you have been in the service for the time and you are due for promotion. I'll move to my third question, which is on the depoliticization of the services. Honorable Minister, in the last election, 2024, there was a security task force on elections. They did quite well, quite commendable, led by the CDS and then the IGP and other heads of services. We're grateful for their service. But Minister, you realize that in almost all the polling stations across the country, the security personnel that were deployed there did nothing to stop anything that was happening, because they were not too sure who was going to win and what will befall them if they take an action against the other person. That is what happened at almost every polling station. In fact, what we saw on TV at the collation centers, what we saw on TV is where people were being jacked up at collation centers, and police people, military officers were just looking on because people were just not too sure. Indeed, the Electoral Commission had to, on 3 occasions, issue letters requesting for security for them to collate results. What can you do? And I'm sure when you take such an action, you get the support of Ghanaians, that the police service or the services, the 10 agencies under you, including NADMO, when there's a disaster, they check where you belong before you get support. What can you do? And all Ghanaians will support you if you embark on such an action to ensure that the services that serve Ghanaians is depoliticized? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Chair, I always say this, and I've said this 1,001 times, even on the floor of the House. If we play around with everything that we do with excessive partisanship, then everything we do become politics. And we will all pay the price for it. I agree, we need to depoliticize, and this, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, as part of his vision himself, has stated that in paragraph 183 of our manifesto, that we will take steps to depoliticize our security services. If you take, for example, the example you gave about the elections, I just like, frankly speaking, how the police operated. Why? People thought that they were going to do this thing and get away with it. Destroy material and those this, and they were taking the videos, the CCTV there, and as we speak, about 150 people have been arraigned before court. I can assure you, by the grace of God, if this committee approves of my nomination, I will ensure that they are prosecuted. I will support the team to make sure that justice is done, so that if you know someone who had gone violently to do something, and now he's been arrested and he's been prosecuted, and he truly gets prosecuted, next time when it is going to happen, you know. Because you see, one of the things that the police did that was good was that they refused to use firearms. Because if they had, now we'll have been counting a number of deaths. And you realize that in this election, there was not a single gun shot from the police. Some came from the military, some came from private citizens, but not the police. But all the perpetrators, as many as possible, and my check says 150 of them, I will support the team to make sure that each of them is brought to justice, no matter who is involved. Because you see, if we don't do that, and then now I look and I say, oh, this is Muntaka, oh, can you do something about it and he get away? Why would Brian Acheampong also not get away with it? But if you see that Muntaka is being dealt with, then the Brian Acheampong will know that when he gets to his thing, he can't get away with it. And for me, I keep saying, Mr. Chair, my faith tells me in the Holy Quran that God himself says he hates injustice. He is just and he hates injustice. And it will be unfair for people to just do the wrong thing and use political covering and hide away from it. I will not encourage that. And His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has stated that in our manifesto as part of his vision. And I will support that and will make sure that the right thing is done. It's not going to be easy. It will come with backlash, but we will be determined to stand by the vision of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to ensure that the right thing is done. So that at least, even if we don't succeed in eliminating this excessive partisanship in our security services, we'll bring it to the barest minimum. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Leader. I am generally encouraged by your posture on the promotions, on the matter of small arms, and the depoliticization of the services. I can assure you that the process that you start in depoliticizing the services, inshallah, when the next MPP government will continue from there. Now, in 4 years. On the issue of, on a lighter note, Honorable Muntaka, when you are receiving a gun salute, you have to be at attention. You were too relaxed in receiving that gun salute, and it wasn't impressive. You have to be at attention. Congratulations, nominee, and I wish you very well.
Well, Mr. Chair, I was vehemently against that shootings in my house, because I told them that, no, that was why I came out, and I've since made the officer to apologize. And it's also gone viral because I don't think that was right. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. I will proceed to give the floor to Honorable Hajia Ladi Ayamba. You have the floor, Hajia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity. Assalamu alaikum, Alaj.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Let me start by congratulating you and saying that may the Almighty Allah continue to bless and protect you, and that His will be done.
Inshallah, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to ask something which is very, very relevant, because I come from the Boko enclave. I am a Moshi, you are a Dagomba. So many Dagombas behind there, so many Kusasis around, so many Mamprishis around. And we all know the route that we are coming from. That is the Moli Dabani area or route. And Nagwewa himself has his grave in my constituency, that is Pusga. So Pusga is the almighty place. Will you, as the Minister for Interior, and who will have to take up the issue of these crises in Boko, come in and let us understand that we are one and the same people, and so we should stop all these hullabaloo that is dividing us. Will you do that? And that apart, I will just say a very big congratulations to you. I wish you the best, and you take care of yourself. You know it better than I do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I can give my sister the assurance that I will be very interested in assisting the team and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to achieve that vision that he promised the Boko people, that will do everything humanly possible to ensure that peace return, not only in Boko, but all the other areas across our country that are having this packet of challenges. And that's why earlier I said the time has come for us to dispassionate about this and call for a national conference on the future of our chieftaincy, so that we'll be able to know that aside all these things that we are here, if anybody, if a UK citizen walks into this room, it will be very difficult for that person to look at us and say this person is that. Maybe apart from maybe our height and complexion, the person will not be able to differentiate us. And yet we consistently try to show that we are different. But I believe that with the commitment that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has given and his vision, me being his rep at the Ministry of Interior, together with the team that I'm going to join, will support that vision to ensure that peace, permanent peace, returns not only in Boko, but all the other areas that are having these challenges. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. The floor is now given to Honorable Peter Lanchini Togo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Minister Designate, congratulations.
Thank you, my brother.
I think I'll take this opportunity to thank His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama for nominating you to this position. As one of my colleagues said, barring any last-minute change, nothing will stop you from becoming the next Minister of Interior.
Inshallah.
When you were taking your oath, I was observing you. You appear serious as a man of faith. When you find a political mentee asking his political mentor a question publicly, it might not necessarily be about me, but it's just all about the people who are watching us. Yes. You've mentored him in this house for 4 years. Mr. Minister Designate, please, you had a relationship with the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs for many years in this house before I came. God has designed it. He is not the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. You are going as Minister for Interior. That relationship is necessary to ensure that John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, can reset Ghana in the area of chieftaincy dispute. How will this relationship, as define it, be able to assist you? Bring peace to Boko, one. Bring peace to many of the places that we have curfews. All the curfews we have in this country, about 10, they are all chieftaincy related. So the two of you, you've been friends for years. It is for divine purpose. Take advantage of it, but tell the public, how will you leverage upon that relationship to build peace back? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, the local government minister designate, because it's not yet been sworn in, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, had been my deputy for almost 9 years of the 10 years that I was in the chief whip office. We work very closely, and you've seen he and I campaign together, and you join us in Wenchi. So the jail is there. My prayer and hope is that the cordial relationship that existed between us, we are almost like a family, will translate it into better output for the benefit of the Ghanaian population by working very hard, collaborating with even other colleagues to ensure that not only in Boko do we have peace, but all over where there are these challenges. And like I said, because in the Constitution, Article 270, debar Parliament from even passing laws that has to do with chieftaincy, our hands seem to be tied. But what probably my colleague and I, if by the grace of God, we are able to sail through Parliament, will do is to collaborate effectively with the National House of Chiefs and Regional House of Chiefs so that they can fast track the codification of the line of succession. Because if the line of succession is documented and all of us know that, oh, after Peter comes Ajia Zuera, and after Ajia Zuera, it can only be Ajia Ladi, it makes it easy. It takes away the doubt where Muntaka will just come and run in between, probably because Muntaka has money, or he's coming from a bigger family, or he's coming from, for lack of better word, a more vigorous family. So he and I will work very closely to assist the National House of Chiefs fast track this codification. And I'm sure when they're able to do that, it will go a long way to help us. And let me take this opportunity to thank Dasantehene for the role that he's also playing. And we'll try to work very closely with him. Having been, Dasantehene, that has helped in the Dogbon, he's been helping in so many other places. It is our hope he will continue to provide his wise counsel and make his services available in assisting the government to be able to fast track, to get peace all these areas across our country. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. I will give the floor to Honorable Ntim Fojo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Congratulations, Honorable Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak, on your nomination to the well-deserved position. Given that you are a very respected member of this House, a sixth-term member of Parliament, and an experienced leader of the House, and appointed to the position of the Ministry of Interior, you will be expected, among other things, to provide advice to the President on very serious matters of security sector governance, including advice to the President on appointment or revocation of appointment of heads of various security agencies. Now, there are two schools of thought. One that posits that in deepening security sector governance and promoting professionalism, it is important that even when presidential turnover occurs, at a time when heads of security agencies may have served their term midway or at the beginning of serving their term, it is important to maintain them to serve the full term in order to ensure that professionalism is strengthened and integrity of the security services are strengthened. On the other side, there is another school of thought which also posits that in order to court political loyalty, when presidential turnover occurs, leadership will have to change heads of various security agencies and to revoke appointment of heads of agencies and appoint new ones deemed to be loyal to the succeeding government. Which of these school of thoughts do you belong to, and what do you promote in advising the President, considering the fact that countries or jurisdictions who have practiced the latter have eroded gains in their security sector governance, integrity, and have been on the path of declining security? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, my colleague and I have been in this house for some time, and I'm sure if he takes the hands that he will see my line of thought. I strongly believe that if we all put national interest first, and I mean well just as you mean well, why should I doubt your action? So why not allow continuity? But you also know, sometimes you come and meet a situation where with a greater respect. I know I've met my team and the team that I'm hopefully going to join as a member, the heads of security, and I can see the competence. But in some instances, you come and meet people that are just round holes, what do you call it, squares in round holes, allowing that affect the national interest. Because they were not put based on national interest. They were put based on political interest. If you allow that to continue, then you are also not being fair to the national interest. So it will be very difficult to choose one side of your coin, because the exigencies and the time and the circumstances will determine which one you go for. Because frankly speaking, if all of us were very professional in the way everything gets done, why should you even be bothered about who you are coming to meet as your secretary in the office, or who you are coming to meet as the driver of the minister? If the person is so professional, you just sit and control because you are sure that the person has your back. But if the circumstances under which the person himself was given that position is questionable, and the actions and inactions of that person over the period, there are so many gaps. Allowing that to continue will be injurious to the national interest. So it has to be dealt with case by case. But you cannot have this kind of one size fits all. If you have that one size fits all, I don't think it will be in the national interest. But just take each case and look at the merit and demerit of staying or leaving, and then act appropriately, and making sure that when you are also going to do that, be mindful that you are also doing that in the best national interest. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Just a short follow-up. Considering the experience, the extensive experience of the nominee being a leader of this House for a very long time, and his extensive interaction with the heads of the various security agencies incumbent, and during his interactions at briefing so far, out of the 10 heads of the various agencies that you'll be heading, do you find any incumbent to be possessing traits of being a square peg put in a round hole?
Well, that would be, Chairman, that would be extremely difficult to tell, because frankly speaking, from a distance, the way you may see an individual may be completely different from when you get closer, and then when you get all the facts. So it is when I get in, then you now have to get all the facts. When you are privy to all the facts, that's when you can be able to answer whether this person is best. Because also remember, the government has its vision and aspiration. And sometimes, if, for example, I am the type that will not be able to help His Excellency to achieve his vision and objective for this country, when the Ghanaians have trusted him, why should I stay? Because my attitude, my belief, my professionalism is contrary to the kind of vision and aspiration that he has. And he is the one who is being elected. Why should I be the one to say, not because I'm not good, but the match is just not there. So it is better to give way for somebody who can come and help him to achieve his objective. So once the facts are there, I'm sure His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will not, he has stated it in our manifesto, and I want to believe that he means what he stated in our manifesto. He will mean well. He wants to leave legacy. Mine is to assist him in achieving this legacy. So we will not be acting based on favoritism, based on hearsay, based on what we want, but I want to believe that the advice, if it becomes necessary, that I will give His Excellency will be based on the best national interest, and I want to believe that he will also act in the best national interest. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My last question.
Very much. Very well.
Ghana's democracy is one that is very enviable. We've gone through 5 turnovers very successfully. Even one other thing that once you pass 2 turnover tests, your democracy has consolidated. However, one factor that is still inimical to the sterling democratic credentials we have is the rather unfortunate phenomenon, perennial across various transitions, of post-election violence. You have provided responses to certain specific aspects of this, but specifically, in an earlier response to a question that you gave, brilliantly and eloquently so provided, you indicated your preference for Commission of Inquiry in specific cases where you think that would be appropriate, and even cited an incident of killings which you are aware, and one commission of inquiry was constituted. It fast-tracked investigations and prosecutions and served justice promptly. Considering the magnitude of the post-election violence that we have seen this year, would you support those calling for commission of inquiry into specific acts, the attack on the Anglo-Gold Ashanti or Boase mine, for instance, and certain specific killings that took place in some constituencies, to augment on the already investigations and prosecutions you had identified? Thank you. I wish you the very best. I have every confidence in your ability to support the president to succeed, and I know you yourself will succeed. Godspeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend.
Chair, I can assure my colleague that I have very good experts as a team that I'm going to join by the grace of God. All these things will be reviewed. But let me take this opportunity, Mr. Chair, to say, I've been around for some time. I remember very well, I was a member of the cabinet of the late President Morse, when after winning power, he insisted that we cannot continue doing this tit for tat forever. And all of us tagged him, Father for all. I remember MMDCs even had to stay for about 6 months and all that. He sacrificed, I mean, he stood the ground. We pushed. That time, many of us were much younger with a lot of youthful exuberance. I remember in cabinet, I would say, when you do this, you yourself, in your house, they came and took cars when you were not around and harassed the second lady, President Rawlings. They did this, all that. I mean, emotionally, spoke around the cabinet table. Then he said that, look, you are young. If you don't learn to forgive, God will not forgive you. So let us push all these things behind us. He did all that. Unfortunately for us, when power changed in 2017, we went back to the 2001 behavior. And it nullified the sacrifice President Morse made. I must admit, ask the police, the security experts, the post-election violence, all that we have seen. I condemn them. His Excellency General Mahama condemned it. You remember he even called the then president to act. But believe me, they were nowhere near some of the things that happened in 2017. That is the way we need to be truthful to ourselves. That look, what is good for you is equally good for me. We should all be acting knowing that you mean well, I also mean well. It's just that this time you have been chosen over me and I'll be patient. The next time I may be chosen over you. But when we make it look as if that once I have been chosen, I have to show you where power lies. I have to step on you and step on your neck so that you can feel the pain of loss. Then this thing will perpetuate. And my fear is that one day, it may get out of hand and all of us will regret. I don't think we need to wait to get there. That is why, again, I remember very well, the late chairman of the NDC, Dr. Kobuneje, I remember I was part of FEC then, when he said, look, we are in power. Let us show the good gesture first. Let us go to the NPP headquarters to visit them so that we, the political actors, will start talking so we can de-escalate the tension. I remember, that time too, I remember very young. Chamo, you want us to go NPP when we are in power? Why? You want us to look like we are weak? When we have power, why can we be seen as if we are afraid of them? He refused as elderly statesman. We went. Visited the NPP at their party headquarters. Had time, chat, and interacted. And they promised they were going to return that visit. I don't know whether it is going to happen tomorrow. So when that didn't happen, then everybody was telling Prof, Dr. Kobuneje, we told you. I said, so let we, the political actors, I mean, I've been in this house long enough, and I don't say it with apology. Napo is my brother. We are like twins. We grew up together in the city, Kumasi. His father was like a father to me. My mother is like a mother to him. But he belongs to MPP, I'm in NDC. Since he became the MP for Menchia, before him, I came to Parliament before him. Before him, there was always conflict between Aswanse and Menchia. The constituents were always fighting violently. When he became an MP, and we kept that relationship, they will see him visit me. His conscience will see me visit him. Why would they fight? The fight stopped. And for almost 16 years, there had never been any conflict between Aswansi and Benshia South. So let us, we all sitting around this table, mean well, extend courtesies to each other, and think about each other in the good sense. When we do that, I'm sure most of these things will not be happening. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Alhaji Alhassan Omar.
Thank you. Thank you for the reminder. Thank you, Chairman. Assalamu alaikum. Leader Juma Mubarak. Ordinarily, I wouldn't have asked a question because when I entered this parliament 8 years ago, you were my mentor. I asked questions, I learned a lot from you, and I'm still proud of you. And I know you're going to do an excellent job. I know who you are. I know your principles. I want to ask you a question which disturbs almost every minority in this country. And it is an issue concerning police brutalities. Recently, the recent issue is even happened in the Ashanti region, Ejura. A suspect under police custody died without any explanation and causes, and several. Leader, I want you to tell us how you will address the issue of police brutality and ensure accountability. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Earlier, I believe, if you could remember, someone asked a question, I was talking about the body cameras. I also believe that the time has come for us to put CCTVs in all our police stations and cells. I have my phone, and I have more than 15 different CCTVs on almost all my property. And I can sit here and view and review. When something happens, I can go back and check. They are not that expensive. But what they do to help us in dealing with all this will be tremendous. I'm going to join a team, and I believe that the team, they are experts in their own right, will go to look at the possibility of emulating other good examples by making sure that in all our police stations, we have CCTV in the child office, in the cells, in all its environs. I know I've visited some police stations, especially at the divisional level and regional, and I see that they have CCTVs around. We need to be able to get this in every police station as much as possible. Because, I mean, there are places where mine is solar. They are just solar. So they don't rely on the lights to go on and go off. But they are not expensive. So these are ideas that when I join the team, I will share with the expert, and let's see the possibility of doing this. Because when we do this, then if someone dies, we all know, you are a Muslim like me. If my time is not up, I'm sure you can hurt me, I can get wounded, but I won't die. But even when I get hurt, we can be able to review. Did you beat me? Or maybe I slipped. Did I die naturally, or you killed me? All those things can be reviewed, and it takes away the suspicion. Because you see, the reason you see this and the violence that you see is mistrust. And sometimes because of the past credibility gap that we've had, where the police say, oh, we are investigating, nothing comes out of it, nobody hears anything. Even if they finish the investigation and maybe they even probably punish the perpetrators, the public don't know. So when something happens, they become so suspicious and decide to take the laws into their hands. But if we have all these measures like these cameras that I'm saying, that can be reviewed and be shown to the world, oh, this is truly what happened. One, the policemen themselves will be careful about the abuses, and then we'll be able to also know the truth anytime something happens. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Leader. I wish you well and congratulations.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you. May I give the floor to Honorable Jerry Shai.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I'm more interested in the welfare issues of the security agencies. Because, I mean, that to wit who much is expected of, much is given. They do a lot of work, especially when they want to remain professional. The issues including insurance for security agencies or personnel. The issues including salaries. And where they even sleep, their attire, allowances, delayed payments in these allowances. Even petty loans for them to even acquire basic cars, 1.2, 1.3 engine vehicles for them to do some movement around. Honorable, from all your answers, you've indicated that you are the man of the people. How do you intend to bridge this gap, the gap of poverty within even the security agencies? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I mean, you're speaking to the Pope when it comes to this. I mean, when I first became member of parliament in Aswansi, there was only one police station at the airport police station. I think Commander One is here. He was then, if they came regional commander later, and together with him we built some more. And the shocking thing was that the barracks that they had in Aswansi, that's the airport police station, they were using pan latrine. Pan latrine. That was around 2015 thereabout. And I said, how can you dehumanize the police this way? They are using pan latrine where they ease themselves. So I built a 20-seater WC for them through the initiative of Common for other things. But I know currently, especially the Ghana Police Service, they've been able to create a welfare fund that other citizens are helping and contributing to the extent that I'm told, even though I'm yet to get there to get the full facts, in the last 3-4 years, no police officer, no matter your ailment, the police themselves are able to deal with it without necessarily falling on GOG. It is something that I will encourage the other team, because I'm joining the team. So can we look at how we can emulate this with the other team? Can we get, yes, government to do more, but can we get also private individuals to support? Can people who God has endowed be able to support our security people so that they can support us? I mean, I always read widely. And I remember Carnegie, one of the richest guys in America, who says, I spent half of my life looking for money, and I spent the other half giving it out to charity. In this part of our world, we are not very good as charitable giving. Like I mentioned, what Pentecost did in assisting the prison service. Let us all learn. Yes, we'll push GOG, government, to do is, but because of the enormous nature of the challenges, if I can get all the teams that I'm joining, the prison service, the narcotics, the small arms, gaming commission, all of them, to be able to have this kind of endowment where maybe annually we launch a program and citizens, non-governmental organizations, non-profit organizations can willingly donate because of supporting us security services. I'm sure it will go a long way to deal with most of the challenges that you're talking about. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Any further questions?
Mr. Chair, yes. Just a follow-up. Honorable Muntaka, so what happens to those who are also looking for retirement benefits? What have we put in place to streamline and expedite pension processing for retiring security personnel?
Well, Chair, thank you very much. I mean, His Excellency Gentleman Mama in the NDC manifesto, if you check, has said that he's going to ensure that the captivity is there and then review it and improve it. That, I can assure you, that will work very closely as his representative at the Ministry of Interior to to ensure that this is done. Because, like I said much earlier, without morale in the services, you can bring all the tankers, you can bring all the guns, you can bring all the accoutrement. The men to man it, if their morale is low, we will have a challenge. So, like I repeatedly said, we have a national security strategy. My bid is that the parts that we have to do with internal security of our country will adhere to them very strongly, and a part of it is about their condition of service. So you can be rest assured that this is something that we'll take up very seriously. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
His Excellency President Mahama is currently driving a very beautiful V8. The procurement of that V8, whether or not it meets security standards, and whether or not, as Minister of Interior, you would agree that it is a presidential vehicle that properly so called. I'm asking the nominee.
Yeah, Chair, until I don't have this fact. In fact, he's talking about four-wheel drive. I've seen so many four-wheel drive. All of us here drive four-wheel drives. If I sit here and I tell you that I know what type of four-wheel drive His Excellency the President is driving, I will be untruthful for you. But as his representative at the Minister of Interior, part of our responsibility, the team at Minister of Interior, is to make sure that the President is secured. I can assure you that when the opportunity comes, when this House, by the grace of God, approves of our nomination, when I join the team, these are things that we'll review, and definitely, if it doesn't meet the purpose, obviously we'll ensure that we'll humbly and respectfully advise the President. But remember, the President is not just a first-time President. He's been President before, and I want to believe he's very much aware of most of these things. But obviously, when we get there, we'll look at that, and if there's some advice that we can give His Excellency, why not? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Honorable Chair. Still on the welfare of the security agencies, and vis-a-vis how they are seen to be dealing with the public and public trust, what mechanisms are you going to put in place to ensure that the security agencies would have a lot of stakeholder engagement with the people so that trust is reposed in them?
Well, thank you very much. I must admit that I've seen videos and pictures of the top hierarchy of the police, led by the IGP, in our secondary schools, in some primary schools, in some junior high schools, interacting with community. It is something that we need to encourage, not only the Ghana Police Service. Because, for example, the Ghana National Fire Service even needs to do more of that. But all of them sometimes hinges on resources. And this is something that I keep calling, that the non-governmental organization, non-profit organization, that can assist us as a team to be able to do more of this kind of engagement. Why not? We'll be happy, because that will help the citizen to get closer, to tell us what their perception is about us, and then we'll also know, then be able to have basis for correction and improving what the team will be doing. So I can assure you that we'll be encouraging more of that to be done, the interaction with the general community. I mean, and it's also in line with the vision of His Excellency General Mahama. When you look at our manifesto, when he says that our security architecture, we are going to review it to make sure that it is more community-based. Involvement of the community should be more. So we'll be looking at that, and like I keep repeating, these are experts in their own right. I mean, they've been in the services for long. They've seen it all. They've traveled across the world. We'll put our heads together to see how we can improve and get the communities to trust us more, so that we'll be able to improve what we are doing. Thank you, Chair.
The Chairman, that will be all for the witness. I wish you very well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll proceed to give the floor to Honorable Minority Leader and the ranking member of the committee, Alexander Afenyu Makin.
Good afternoon, Senior.
Good afternoon, Minority Leader.
How old are you now?
Well, based on the extrapolation that was done to be able to get me my date of birth, it says I should be about 54 now.
So, based on your date of birth on page 1 of your CV, which states you were born October 17, 1971, you are 54 now.
I should be heading towards 54.
Very well. So you are 53 now?
Yes, Minority Leader.
Senior, in 2009, how old were you? 2009 February, how old were you?
Probably around 37.
So you would agree with me that you had not reached that prime age of 40. As they say, life begins at 40, correct?
Yeah, obviously.
Now, a lot of Ghanaian youth are watching you now. First, share with us useful public life lessons you learned between that age of 37 when you came into public life and now that you are 53 back again into mainstream public life. And for the avoidance of doubt, the public life phrase as I have used now means getting into the executive arm of government. So I'm defining my public life to mean the executive arm of government.
Well, thank you very much, Minority Leader. You are perfectly right. I mean, I want to believe that even when you yourself came to this house some 12, 13 years ago, you admit that I think I was then the majority whip. I was more aggressive than today over the period. But as you age, you learn from your mistakes, you learn from the mistakes of others, you read more widely, you experience so many other things. So you learn so much. And the tendency for you to think and review and probably even share with others before you act is much better when you are older than when you are younger. Also, let me also say that in 2009, I had just finished my first term, I started my second term, and frankly speaking, I had never worked with even any government sector. I mean, I was the type, when I completed school, never wanted to work for anybody. I wanted to work for myself. So the closest I did was to work in the private sector. And you know, in the private sector, the attitude, the way of doing things are completely different from the public sector, where in the public sector, age is matter, seniority matter, all those things matter, and what have you and what have you. And the buck sometimes does not necessarily end with you. I mean, you could be the minister, but the buck may not necessarily end with you. Today, I've been in the system for long. I've learned, I mean, you will admit, I've been even in Pan-African Parliament alone. I've been there for over a decade, traveled across the world, at the continent. You see so much that makes you act differently from when you were much younger, that you didn't have the kind of experience that you have when you are in your 50s. So definitely there's a huge difference between my good self. I can tell myself that sometimes my children wonder and say, why are you tolerating this from this constituency? I said, don't worry, the person is young. When he grows, he will understand. So, yes, I've learned so much.
You were 37 when you entered into the executive arm of government.
Yes, Honorable Anotilda.
You had some issues with the civil service structure, and you are on record to have said that the chief directors cannot be trusted.
Well, obviously that was then. It's part of what I'm saying.
No, I gave you the opportunity to do a general overview.
Yes.
To advise the youth so that they pick something from this. Now I'm delving into the specifics.
That's okay, sir.
Right. Some of the public utterances against the conduct of the chief directors. And you know, you have done a perfect explanation of your background, that you were coming from the private sector and you saw things differently. So it made you say certain things. Today, going back in there, confronted with similar attitude by the civil service, and bear in mind, no doubt, you are going to meet a bureaucracy of permanent government workers who can give you tough time. What would be your posture?
Well, Mr. Chair, I think since I sat here, I've consistently said that I'm joining a team. I want to believe that probably in 2009, I went in thinking that I was the king. Today, I believe that I'm only joining a team. And I've drummed it again and again since morning, that if I have to succeed, it is because this crop of expertise will have to come on board and let us work as a team. If we have to fail, we'll fail together as a team. My attitude is completely different. I'm, by the grace of God and with all humility, as you know, now I even teach leadership in UPSA. I teach master class in leadership. Obviously, you cannot be an effective leader if you think you know it all, or you see people as this, it is you and me. But if you see leadership as playing parts of the relay to get us to finish a race, and making everybody feel belonging, and everybody's view matter, and everybody feels important, even the tortoise will want to speed up to get us finish the race. So that will be the attitude that I'll be going in there, that look, we have to do this together, and I respect your expertise. What do you say? I have to be more listening than doing all the talking. I don't have to act until I'm very sure that all of us, or at least majority of us in the team, believe that that is the best way to act. So it's no longer about me as an individual, it should be about us. I think that will be the attitude I'll be going in there with. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable Leader, you have used a word king, and you juxtapose it against your yesterday. Muntaka at 37 thought that leadership meant he being a king. Muntaka at 53 believes that leadership to him is being part of a team. In a recent interview, with a Joy FM journalist. You had cause to critique the leadership of the Speaker of the 8th Parliament of Ghana. Do you still hold firm those views as contained in those criticisms of the 8th Parliament Speaker?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me clarify this. I did not criticize the Speaker. I criticized his style. And I believe that for a style, people have their varying views. I respect him. He's mentored me. We agree more on so many other things, but we have areas where we disagree. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable nominee, so I'll give you a bit of a background by way of laying foundation. Then I will mount my question on it. Okay? You recall Donald Rumsfeld, a former Defense Secretary of the United States of America?
During George Bush Sr.
Very well. Some journalists were pestering him on some very important matters of state. They pushed him over and over again. I'll try to paraphrase what he said. That there are known unknowns and there are known unknowns and there are unknown knowns. Keep that in mind. Foundation 2. Some of your colleagues who I interacted with upon your nomination expressed joy upon the announcement because they say you are very hardworking. But we're quick to also say that when your back is against the wall, you can spill. Let me ask you, are you ready to enter your casket with some debts on you, even when you are innocent, to save the nation?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I would say that you are asking the Pope. I'll just give one example to reiterate this. I believe, Minority Leader, you knew how we elected Mr. Speaker into office. Everybody in this country had done everything humanly possible. I believe even including the security agencies to know which of your guys supported us, and they don't know. Because
but we know.
You don't know. It's not
we
true.
Know.
You
we
don't.
Know.
You don't.
We know.
You,
don't
I'm
go
sorry.
there.
I'm
Honorable
sorry.
nominee.
I'm sorry.
Nominee, don't go there,
I'm sorry, answering question. You asked a question. I hope you let me answer.
Well, but because you've introduced that,
because I'm saying that
we know.
You don't. You don't. You can only guess. You cannot say you know.
But do you know?
I work with people, and I vow and told them that not even my wife will know this. I will die with it, and I meant it, and I will die with it. I'm telling you that I'm going to this ministry that is security zone. an area where you talk less, you act more. I can assure you that even, I'm sure, Honorable Minority Leader, you and I, in the last few years that will be in this house, not even few.
You are inadvertently spilling.
No, I'm not spilling. I'm saying that over the period.
You are inadvertently spilling.
No, Mr. Minority Leader, I'm saying that over the period that you and I have been in this house, you can attest to the fact that there have been so many things between us that no third person has ever known. And I can assure you that no third person will ever know. Because you can trust me that when I say I am doing this with my honor, I meant I'm doing it on my honor. But obviously, like you rightly said, when you push someone to the wall, I mean, it is said in the account, when you chase a coward to the wall, you see his braveness. Yes, all of us have our values, we have our principle. It gets to a point where if your core values are going to be compromised, you rather prefer to walk away. That is a natural thing. But I can assure you that when it comes to, as people say, spilling the beans, I'll be the last anybody can doubt whether I keep confidentiality. I can be angry and be talking about it, but the details and specifics of things, you can never hear it from me. Yes, I'm human, I'm not an angel. I can have my weakness and strength. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable nominee. Let's go back to your seat. Your residential address is provided thus: B60 Simpson Road, Boteman.
Yes, Minority Leader. Yes, Chairman.
Boteman, that area where you live, you acquired your lease from government.
Yes.
So it was estate land that you rightfully bought.
Yes.
And you have a lease covering it between you and government of Ghana through acting through the Lands Commission.
Yes.
As your leaseor and you being a leasee.
Yes.
You also agree with me that you bought that land because that area was demarcated as a residential area.
Yes.
And that you bought it with equal right as any other person, be it a Ghanaian or a foreigner with the ability to pay.
Rightly so.
How would you feel if any Ghanaian suggests to you that by mere fact that that is a government land, you have taken advantage to acquire, that therefore you are corrupt?
Well, Mr. Chair, what I will say is that I know the whole of East Legon was for the state. There are private people living there, people who had worked in government before, and others. Airport Residential was all state land. People acquired them legitimately and are living there. I don't see anything wrong if it is done legitimately and rightly. And I've heard my colleague, the Attorney General, in answering question. If the land based on this procedure that is legitimate and you are fine. How can anybody say because of that you are corrupt? But obviously, as you may know, Chair, people have their own perceptions about things. I remember in 2013, in 2009-10, when the late Obutu bought the residence that he was in, and then people said morally it was wrong because if you were a minister and you were given a home, how do you end up buying it? And it went up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said that it was legitimately done. So far as I'm concerned, if you buy something legitimately and others are saying that, oh, because of this, let them challenge it in a lawful manner and let it be tested. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable nominee. What do you say to some of our compatriots who hold the view that property acquisition is a crime?
Well, everybody has his view about things. I mean, with a greater respect, you may like to take alcohol. I don't. Maybe because my religion forbids. You may like to take pork. My religion forbids me, and I accept and I don't take. You have chosen to have only one wife because your religion will not allow you to go more than one wife. My religion allows me to go up to 4, and I have 2. I mean, so everybody has his view about things, and once someone holds his view about things, and as you know, it's not challenged in a legal court to test that you are doing something illegal. I don't bother myself about that, and you know me in this house that many of you say that I have a thick skin because I don't really bother much about what you are thinking. I rather focus on what I believe is the right thing, and I try to do the best that I can and improve the Muntaka yesterday. The Muntaka of today to be better than the Muntaka of yesterday. That's my focus, but not what people go about saying. Thank you, Chair.
Back to your CV, page 1. Languages spoken and written. Hausa, Twi, Dagbani, and English. I know that some of your Dagomba friends taught you how to speak Dagbani. I don't know whether they taught you how to write Dagbani as well. Oh, I know.
No, Chair, he's right. I mean, we've had a lot of conversation, so he knows a lot more about me. Yes, I can say, Mr. Chair, permit me to amend this to cancel the unwritten, because obviously, even the Hausa, I cannot write very well in Hausa. The only one that I can write very well is English. Even Twi, I can't write well, so it's an error or it's a mistake. So if permit me, I will amend it by just saying that language is spoken. Thank you.
Please, permission granted.
Honorable nominee, in Ghana, when a person says, my hometown, in the ordinary meaning of it, what would a person be referring to? To what would lead a person to say Winneba is his or her hometown?
Well, my understanding of hometown is where you are born or where your parents are born or where your parents hail from or your grandfather hail from. So it's just too unfortunate that in our country, our belief is that make reference to only where your grandfather counts, but I think it's absolutely wrong, because if we are going to do that, then all of us will leave this country. We will all not be Ghanaians, because everybody came from somewhere, then moved to somewhere and somewhere and somewhere. So me, my hometown is Kumasi. That's where I was born and bred. That is where I have lived. I have siblings who do not even know Techiman, let alone to get to Tamale. Yes, I'm a Southerner with a northern background, and I'm proud of it. I attended Tamale Secondary School. I get to know the families. I visited Kumbungu, where my grandfather hails from, and I'm happy to be at the Dagomba. But I was born and bred in Kumasi, and I use Kumasi as my hometown, and I'm very proud of it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Share with us a bit of your northern background.
Well, my grandfather, I'm told, my great-grandfather, I'm told, hailed from Kumbungu. My grandfather was born around Kumbungu, grew up in Kumbungu, moved in trading through Salaga, and landed in Kumasi through the challenges that you know that is between the north and the south. So my grandfather died in Kumasi. His grave was buried in Kumasi. My father grew up Kumasi, also died in Kumasi. My mother, born in Tamale and moved to Kumasi, I'm told, when she was just about 2 years, and has since been in Kumasi to today. I was born and bred in Kumasi. My father has 41 of us. I'm number 14, and all of us born, I think with the exception of 2, that my father said they were born in Salaga. All the others, 39 of us, born and bred in Kumasi. And it is Kumasi that all of us have ever known. Our assets, our larger family. Yes, we have the extended family, we visit and we are proud of them. Some are in Salaga, some of my sisters married have taken them to Salaga, some of my sisters are in Tamale. Ras Mubarak is my direct nephew, his mother is my direct sister, she's my father's fifth born, but she married, took her back to Tamale. Some of my siblings are in Germany, some are in London, who are now British, some are in America, who are now Americans. So I am born and bred in Kumasi, and I'm proud of that, and I see Kumasi as my hometown, and I will remain proud of being a Kumarican. Yes, and my cousin is Anta. Until the funeral came, when his mommy died, and I went, then that's what the father said, what are you doing? I said, I came to my friends. He said, no, he's not your friend. And they started telling the relation. Then I looked at him and I see one of my uncles. I see they have some resemblance. I said, oh, you see, we have an imam in Asante, the late regional imam. He's late now. He has a slogan that he uses very frequently. Every time he preaches, just to remind us about the peace. He said, look, everybody is in everybody's home. So be careful about what you do to each other, because by the time you realize you are related in one way or the other. So it's a very common slogan in our community, Zongo in Kumasi, Kowa Nigerian Kowa, to which means everybody is in everybody's home. So be careful what you do to people, because at least you wake up and realize that, oh, not knowing that the one that you are hating is your direct brother or cousin or nephew or niece. Thank you, Chair.
So, in other words, you are telling me that should I take a secret ballot on you, my respected colleague, Dr. Amin Adam, is likely to defy my orders and vote for you because you are indeed his blood brother.
Mr. Chairman, I don't think
It is not for you to answer.
Okay, thank you.
Honourable members, Honourable Amin Adam is not even a member of this committee, so he doesn't even have a vote to cast.
Honourable nominee, you have indicated to us truthfully and in all sincerity that you've acquired a government land, you acquired it rightfully, and to the extent that you acquired it rightfully and you have your lease, there's nothing wrong with it. May I know from you, still being honest with us, do you know some of your party members in leadership of your party who have acquired government lands in Cantonment, Roman Ridge, Airport Residential Area? Do you know, perchance?
Mr. Chairman, frankly speaking, I don't go about asking people about their assets and listen, frankly speaking. So if I visit, say, the chair of the committee who, will be in this house and work together on so many things, and I say, oh, you have a nice house. How am I going to be asking, oh, how did you acquire this land?
That's when okay. I think, no.
So I just don't know. I don't know. Frankly speaking, I don't know.
That's okay. Fair answer. Somebody may not like you, but your sincerity would always precede you. And I put that out for public consumption with the little interaction I've had with you. Now, do you have some of your party members who live in the Roman Ridge area, Ridge, Cantonment, Airport Residential Area? Since you visit them, some of your party leaders, colleagues in Parliament, colleague NDC members outside of Parliament, do you have some of them living in these areas? I don't want you to mention names, but do you have some of them living in these areas?
Frankly speaking, Mr. Chair, I've been scanning my mind to see who did I know. The only person that I used to visit and play tennis with, he was then the minister, Honorable Mama Yaga, when he was around the Roman Ridge. And since we lost power, he left there. I don't know, but I knew that probably he was there because he was a government official or minister, because I could see then Honorable Kumbo was next to him. So we go and play tennis together and do a lot of things together. In Roman Ridge, in Cantonment... Okay,
let's deal Cantonment specifically, currently.
Frankly speaking, I'm scanning my mind to see whether I've visited any of my colleagues in these two areas. On my honor, no. I can't recollect now whether I've visited anybody in that area. Unless if you see me around any of this area with somebody, you can ask whether, when I visited, I asked him whether he owns a house or the land. Maybe
I've moved away from the ownership. Honorable Leader, I intend to be very brief.
Thank you.
But your question, we are ordinarily entitled to follow-ups. So if you are brief, I will be brief.
Okay. I think that's a good, what do you call it, sign you've given me. I will try to be very
And as you may be aware, your vetting today comes under a special dispensation.
I have no doubt about that, and I'm grateful.
For the very security reasons, and it's in the public interest that we take you today for the sake of our country. And as my respected colleague Kennedy Japan and Napo normally say, this is about systems and policies, not NDC MPP. So we are doing this for the country and nothing MPP NDC. I'm just limiting it to
and we are grateful.
Critical issues.
Sincerely grateful.
How close are you with Honorable Harun Idrisu?
I would say very close.
Do you visit him in his house? Sometimes?
Yes. Around Bank Hospital. Yes.
That's Cantonment.
Yes, I've visited him before. Sorry. Yes. That's what I told you. I was scanning my mind to see.
So yes. You know he lives at Cantonment?
Yes, I know.
Very well. That's okay. Now let's deal with the time you left the majority front bench. You recall that Mr. Speaker said this to you. I want to quote Mr. Speaker on the floor. He told you that when one door closes, many more are open. Do you recall this?
Yes, I do.
How good do you feel being an interior minister today, having this statement of Speaker on the floor of the House in mind, especially when those were your very low moments?
Well, let me admit, even apart from what he said on the floor, I'm grateful to Mr. Speaker because we met in his chamber, he repeated same and advised me, you are a member of the Pan-African Parliament, look well.
You know you are going to the mosque?
Yes. So when he said that in Pan-African Parliament, not long before I became the chair of the Committee on Monetary and Finance, and that has opened so many other opportunities to the extent that if you admit, most of the time I'm not seen on the floor because I was so busy with that. So yes, once that door closed, so many others opened, and I'm grateful for that.
Including this one?
Yes.
Including this one?
Yes.
Okay. Were you expecting this? Yes, no.
Well, I am the one who I'm type who live by the day and put my trust in my maker. So I don't wake up expecting things. I just say the will of Allah be.
So no. In 2020, you made your 6-year-old daughter vote, correct?
Yes.
Do you regret doing that openly?
No. I mean, my belief, Mr. Chair, was that this was, I mean, I'm very fan of Khadija. She insisted she wanted to be here today. I said no, she should go to school. Very fan of her. I mean, you have 20 children, but sometimes you'll be very fan of one. She said, Daddy, can I see how voting is done? So I said, oh, don't worry, when we get there, I will. So I pulled her by my side to vote. Yes, I must admit, the votes are supposed to be secret.
So in other words, you didn't consider the legality or otherwise of your action.
That's the thing.
You did it out of love and passion for daughter.
Knowing that her seeing it and even using her hand to do it doesn't really mean anything to her apart from just having the feel that, oh, and I know what they do.
I am letting you know that it was wrong in law.
Later, when it came up, I said, oh, yeah, it's true, because one is supposed to be secret.
Did you get the opportunity to apologize to Ghanaians?
I did.
Very well. Honorable Muntaka, in 2009, when you were a young person in government, you encountered some controversies. Which controversies ended up as charged, and you were cleared. This committee will be happy to have the report of strike. That is, if you procure the copy for yourself. I say so because as public servants of the political class, our being there is driven by perception. It is therefore important that when a litigation has come to an end, we let the same public know the status of it. If you don't mind, and if you have it, would you want to share that report that cleared you of any wrongdoing?
Mr. Chair, because I relocated from Ashabotri to my new place, I moved, you know how we receive documents in Parliament. I moved most of the documents to the library in my community. In fact, they are still in sacks. I'll make effort to see if I can get it. I will let you have it.
Fair enough. My very last question, so you can go